On Channel 3 and streaming on WFSB Plus. This is Eyewitness News at 6:30.
This is something that's been due for a long time.
I can't wait to see it play.
Right now in the morning rush, electric excitement in Uncasville as the Connecticut Sun get ready to take on Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever. Why the game is setting some high hopes for the future overall of the WNBA.
Plus, a fallen Hartford hero now honored among thousands of other police officers. We will recap the heartfelt ceremony honoring Detective Bobby Garton.
And police are investigating a serious crash right now in Manchester. We're going to tell you everything that we know so far and the questions that we are working to get answered. Good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining us on this Tuesday. It is May 14th. I'm Nicole Nalepa.
And I'm Caitlin Nuclo. We have a lot to cover this morning, but first we want to get a quick check on that forecast and your ride to work. And Scott's in with the details. Hey, Scott.
Hey, guys. How are you?
Not too bad.
Good.
Especially because the forecast.
Yeah,
That's
looking nice.
unbelievable. First alert, live radar, dry. It is a stunning start for most.
Live look outside now at 395 north and southbound by exit 6 in Montville. A light traffic volume, calm, clear conditions out there. Grab the sunglasses as you're heading out. I'm Caitlin Francis with your Connecticut Chevy First Alert traffic report driven by your Connecticut Chevy dealers.
All right, thanks, Kate. We want to get right back to Manchester, where we've been continuing to follow that breaking news. Such a horrible crash, and that investigation on that crash is now underway. This is just off of the East Middle Turnpike.
Channel 3 Eyewitness News reporter Marcy Jones live at the scene on Greenwood Drive. So, Marcy, what have you learned?
Good morning. Well, since we last spoke with you, the white BMW X5 was loaded onto a tow truck and taken away, and you can see some of the homeowners coming out to assess the damage, which there is a lot of. We've got a telephone pole just dangling by the wires, some tree branches. You can see them removing some right now, probably so they can get out and get to work. This happened very early in the morning, a single vehicle crash. We're still waiting for confirmed information from police as to if there were any injuries and what exactly led up to this crash. So again, Greenwood Drive is shut down from the Turnpike end to the Indian Street end. Of course, we'll bring you any updates as they roll in, but that's the latest. Reporting live in Manchester, Marcy Jones, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
All right, Marcy, thank you. Meanwhile, we are learning some new details this morning on a Mother's Day celebration that turned deadly in Waterbury. Police identified Shaquille Morris as the man who was shot and killed early yesterday morning at a banquet hall on Sharon Street. We're told an argument over the music volume got so heated that someone fired shots through a wall. 2 other people were hurt as well. So far, no arrests have been made.
Now at 6:34, it has been 8 months since Hartford detective Bobby Garton was tragically killed in the line of duty. And now he is forever memorialized in our nation's capital. Channel 3 Eyewitness News reporter Dylan Fearon went to D.C. for that emotional ceremony, which honored Detective Garton and hundreds of his fellow fallen officers.
282 police officers were honored on the National Mall Monday night. 118 of them gave the ultimate sacrifice last year. Hartford Police Detective Bobby Garton was one of them. Hundreds of families here emotional, now linked forever from strangers to friends.
Robert Carl Garton.
Connecticut's brave fallen hero now linked with thousands. His name echoed through the National Mall, inscribed on a sacred wall, a constant reminder of what these officers gave. Each gong sound hits everyone in the soul, overwhelming grief for family, friends, brothers and sisters on the thin blue line. Each candle representing the 282 officers memorialized. Hartford detective Bobby Garton, one of them, less than a year after he was killed in a crash when the cruiser he was riding in was rammed by a speeding car.
I just can't describe his smile. That officer, when I saw that smile, it just really energized me. He exemplifies the profession. Who knew that night would be the last time we would see him?
More than 24,000 names are on this memorial. While it's touching, the number is shocking. Clear law enforcement continues to be a difficult and dangerous career these courageous officers tackled head-on. James Howell is a retired New Haven officer.
I think it's everybody's responsibility to come here to support the widows and the officers who were killed in the line of duty. One of the most beautiful parks that are underused by the public, that they don't know that the law enforcement memorial's here in D.C.
An emotional tribute as thousands faced the U.S. Capitol, the Washington Monument behind them. Unsurprisingly, there were tears. These families now linked forever, knowing there's no risk-free days in this life, but that their loved ones were selfless and heroic.
Bobby, I can't say enough about Bobby. He was a really good officer, good person, and we will always remember him.
And Assistant Chief Howell mentioned he loved seeing Bobby Garton smile every day, only fitting the two pictures on the memorial. He's smiling. Bobby Garton, 34 years old, died September 6th, now memorialized at our nation's capital forever. In Washington, D.C., I'm Dylan Fear in Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
A woman in Litchfield County is recovering this morning after she was kicked in the head and chest by a horse. Police tell us this happened on Lake Harwinton Road. The woman was seriously hurt, had to be flown to the hospital by LifeStar. We're working to get an update on her condition.
And nearly 2 months after the collapse of Baltimore's Francis Scott Key Bridge, the National Transportation Safety Board is expected to release a preliminary report. This all comes after a major portion of the wreckage was destroyed by an explosion. More than a dozen small explosives were used to break apart the large chunk of the bridge, which was still resting on that cargo ship which crashed into it. Now, work will now resume to remove the bridge, or the ship that is, and restore the channel. 6 construction workers were killed in that collapse, and officials say it'll cost almost $2 billion to build a new bridge.
Today, prosecutors are set to resume questioning Michael Cohen in the former President Trump's criminal trial. Yesterday, Cohen testified about his involvement in hush money payments to 2 women to stay quiet about their alleged sexual encounters. Those payments and how they were documented are central to this case, where Trump is charged with 34 felony counts of falsifying business records.
I'm expecting a great crowd, and that's how it's always been there. Whether it's been the college level, whether it's been the pro level, it's always been a great environment to play in.
College basketball star and WNBA #1 overall draft pick Caitlin Clark is making her debut tonight right here in Connecticut. The Connecticut Sun will host the Indiana Fever at Mohegan Sun. Channel 3 Eyewitness News reporter Olivia Schuler live outside there now with the details of tonight's game. Olivia, this is exciting.
Very exciting. I mean, Caitlin Clark is probably the biggest name in women's basketball right now. And as you mentioned, she was selected as the #1 pick during the WNBA draft this year. So it really comes as no surprise at all that tonight's game is completely sold out. Now, this is the first time since 2003 during the Connecticut Sun's inaugural game to have a sold-out home opener. That means nearly 9,000 seats will have screaming, cheering, and excited fans. Now, Clark holds the all-time scoring record for the NCAA women's basketball, which means Connecticut Sun players, they know exactly what they're up against.
We have to make sure that we're focused on us. Caitlin's an amazing player, but, we've been doing this for a very long time. So for us, it's just about focusing on the main thing, keeping defense our first mindset and moving forward.
We have a great crowd here in Connecticut, usually in Mohegan, but I think it's going to be a sellout crowd and it's going to bring more fans after that.
Any tickets that are left are through resale ticket vendors, and you're definitely going to have to spend a pretty penny in order to get your hands on one of those tickets. Tip-off is at 7:30 tonight, and Channel 3 is going to be there, and we'll have coverage for you all day starting on Great Day at 9 At Mohegan Sun, Olivia Schuler, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
Well, if you're going to a baseball game, there are tickets available to the Yard Goats this evening. First pitch, 72 degrees. How awesome is that?
All right, coming up next here on Eyewitness News this morning, some big plans are on the table for the Enfield Square Mall. What a developer wants from the state in order to move forward with this project. We'll be right back.